Thank you, Mr. Speaker. A bill for an act to provide for anti-dumping and countervailing measures in Nigeria, trade transactions, establishment of anti-dumping and countervailing measures advisory committee to save indigenous industries and for other related matters. HB 90. I move, Mr. Speaker.
Moved by my colleague, Abdullahi, that this bill be read for the second time. I so second.
The bill, which is referred as anti-dumping and countervailing bill. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, this bill is designed to provide for the regulation and control of products manufactured outside the country, but imported and sold at ridiculously low prices in order to stifle competition of rival industries here at home, which ultimately will result in discouraging local industries already existing in the country. Mr. Speaker, it is a kind of protectionary measures to protect our local industries from going extinct, because the contemporary globalization means there is high competition by all nations, and the rich countries, because of their technological know-how, they can produce at very minimal cost. So they have a way of dumping products, even those that are within the capability and capacity of developing countries. And if that is allowed, ultimately the developing countries will be reduced to over-dependency on the rich countries for almost everything that they consume.
Honorable Sir, what's your point of order? Honorable Faruk, could you take your seat, please?
It is upon the NAFDAC Act that this Honorable House enacted. When you watch NAFDAC Act, Mr. Speaker, this bill intends that dumping is an act of bringing or importing substandard goods into the country. And the NAFDAC law says A, subsection A of section 5, to regulate, control the importation, exportation, manufacturing, advertisement, distribution, sales, and use of food, drugs, cosmetics into our country. Mr. Speaker, this bill is totally having the same functions with NAFDAC Act in section 5, subsection A, subsection E, and subsection F. Now, Mr. Speaker, when you also the standard organization of Nigerian Act in section 4.1 and section 5.1 has the power to designate, establish, and approve standards of commodities as it comes into this country, and as it also goes in terms of exportation of our produce. Mr. Speaker, this bill tends to duplicate same of the functions of these two agencies that has been enacted by the National Assembly. So I believe, Mr. Speaker, we are not here to duplicate acts. I think we are here that with any way we feel that the act which we have enacted is not working according to what our purpose are, we should amend such acts instead of bringing a new fresh act to be able to duplicate same functions which this act provides. It is on this ground, Mr. Speaker, that my point of order is predicated upon. And on this ground, I say that this bill should be dropped and let him go and amend or fortify the NAFDAC Act or fortify the Standard Organization Act. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Faruk seeks to amend any of the provisions of those laws, but I have not heard you address the issue of dumping. Really, what you read has nothing to do with dumping. Yes.
Dumping standard goods, especially when you have a substandard goods, probably you dumped into a country because probably those countries do not have any means of producing such produce which you are adopting into that country. It's just like when you say they are adopting toothpick, which by regulation of the CBN, the country has banned that. Or you also dumped in some soaps that are substandard. That is the act of dumping. And our act,
order, please. Silence, please, honorable members.
Regulated in line.
Honorable Side, let me help us at this point. You know, I measure in that. It tells me that dumping, technically speaking, is not just bringing substandard goods. It has nothing to do with dumping. An incident of dumping technically means, therefore, that the goods being sold in Nigeria are even cheaper than the prices in their country of origin. That is what is technically referred to as incidents of dumping. So bringing toothpick, bringing substandard products are not dumping. Dumping arises, for instance, if you are bringing a bag of rice from Thailand to Nigeria, and then that bag of rice is being sold for maybe 10,000 naira in Thailand, but it's being sold for 8,000 naira in Nigeria. So that is an incidence of dumping. So technically speaking, that is what is referred to as dumping. So it doesn't come, strictly speaking, it doesn't come under the provisions of the laws you have cited. So, Honorable Faruk, please go on, but the committee will look at the bill later and then advise.
And dumping is a way of outdoing the industries of a particular home country by other producers of another country, so as to gain the control of the market. And by so doing, the particular country, let's say Nigeria, is at the receiving end, because they will continue to be dependent upon a foreign country for almost everything. Part 5 is about providing notification of such dumping materials. Part 7 is about provisional measures, whereby it provides for measures which may be applied upon determination that there is dumping. And then part 9 is about relating to imposition and collection of anti-dumping and countervailing duties. So it is within us to protect our own industries. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I thank you for giving me this chance, and I also call on you to support this bill for second reading. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I believe that there is need to protect our local industries from dumping, because what they are doing is to shortchange us, bring in materials that are even costing less in Nigeria than even in a foreign country. And in the process, they undercut our local industries. But we need our local industry to actually survive. I think this is the trust of this bill. And I believe that there is need for this parliament to pass this law so that we can protect our local industry and then generate employment for our citizenry. On that basis, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I believe that this is a bill that we should support because it seeks to protect our industries against unfair trade practices. Thank you.
Sir, I'm really happy you have defined dumping for us legally. But in business balance also, dumping and technically can be defined by some parameters. And I think I want to take one section of it, that is induced dumping. Induced dumping can come as a result of the test. Nigerians have tests for foreign goods. And that is tied down also to attitude. Everything made in Italy is furniture, rice in Thailand, wristwatch from Switzerland, and so on and so forth.
So this bill is protecting not only the production of locally made goods, but also is discouraging substandard products coming from this country. And by that, we are also increasing the health safety of our populace.
Now read the second time. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. The ayes have it.